Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing today? There is naughtiness already happening in the chat.
It's Gucci.
There's Gucci naughtiness happening in the chat. We keep pinning crazy things, and then I have to unpin them and fix it. How's everyone doing today? Hello, hello, hello. Grimly does point out there was a prediction before the stream started. Did Balins get haircutted, Chad? Did Balin get haircutted? Grimly, listen. Fridays are a great day to get haircutted. However, Grimly, today, with 6,117 channel points on the line, the correct answer is no. The reason why I didn't get haircutted, Grimly, they only had an appointment at noon today, and I was still watching Baby Alona, and so I couldn't do it. You can't get a haircut Friday morning. Friday morning is, you know, that's still work time or firing time, depending on your situation. You never get a haircut while you're about to get fired. If anything, you make your hair grow longer. Grimly's like, it makes sense. Oh my god. Hi, Grimly! Grimly was first today, folks. Unofficially. Officially, Yoger Garrel was first, sniping away Grimly. We have Becca in the house. Tactics. Hello, hello, Tactics. How you doing today? We have, let's see, some moving down. Spikes! Sneaking on in here. How you doing, Spikes? Big Gaming! The lovely and beautiful and handsome Big Gamey, who's having a burger right now and some fries. Love you, Big Gamey. Debs, hello, Debs. Music Girl, hello, hello. Welcome on in. Them Artsy Ghosts, thank you for the lurk. Hello, hello. Irish Jern Games, chat. Jern is here. You know what that means. We have to, with Jern here, you know exactly, chat, what we're going to be starting off the stream with. The best possible start to the stream, folks. Rise of Piracy. We also have, let's see, who else has snuck on in here today. A bunch of dancing. Tech Chatter. Hi, Tech.
Gucci.
Returning chatter of Tech2674. Welcome on back, Tech. How you doing today? Hello, hello. Kushal the Hair Wizard. Jern is a hair wizard. Jern is a very, very hair wizard. Hanging out with your friend today? Nice, Becca. What kind of stuff were y'all doing? Chat. We got a couple of things. We got SciAnts news on the docket for tonight, folks. I'm going to put up a poll to see what topic y'all want to begin with while we watch the trailers for Rise of Piracy, because I can think of no better way to do so. What science topics? Because it is Science News Friday. We'll be chatting all things science news. But where to start? We have elephant and banana. We have bee social learning. We have hibernation. We have, let's see which one it should be, beetles, and we can do lifespan as well. There you go. There's a couple of options for y'all. Couple of options. We'll give y'all a 5-minute poll to vote on what topic y'all want to start off with. We're kicking off tonight. We're kicking off the stream tonight. Y'all put up a poll on what y'all wanted to start with. And the vote tonight was for, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much for the follow. Ulting. Thank you so much. Welcome in. The vote was for social learning and bees is what we'll start off with. You can also predict how many topics we're going to go through tonight. For channel points, chat. How many topics will we go through tonight? Vote was rigged. There was only one extra vote, Smikes. Hi, Emilas. Chat, if you're checking out the one amazing, breathtaking, if you're not checking out the one amazing, only breathtaking NMD96, you're not doing live right. NMD96, folks. On her partner Poosh. Please go drop her that follow. Also go subscribe to her so you can get those very cool, very fancy emotes. One even has wiggling eyebrows. How she did that, no idea. But you know what, chat? You should go check her out. Absolutely. NMD just sent in her public school teacher application. Heck yeah, NMD! NMD, congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations. Wait, utilizing the magic eyebrows. It's a lot of hype, NMD96. NMD, when do you hear back? When is the good news to be gotten? I want to know all the things, NMD. I want to know all the things. Had a dance party for yourself? Oh, NMD, we need to make more dance parties, I suppose. Like, more dance party animations need to be made. I got Antonia dancing for
you. Gucci.
Because of course he's gonna dance, right? Just learned there's a strange connection between our eyes and our tongue. The tongue knows exactly things we look at would have feel like if we lick them, even before we lick them. Cliff, that is fascinating. Come to think of it, you're right, Cliff. If we start thinking about things that are like textured in different ways, like the side of a tree, right, and like the jagged sides of a tree, or I have no idea, but I have an imagination. I have an imagination for it. Yeah, Cliff, that's awesome. Cliff, you're right. Cliff is very wise. I have not licked any trees lately, Smikes, but let's get into the paper, chat. Let's get into paper. So, this is a really awesome and exciting study. So there's two. It's two companion papers back and forth. So one is, this is the actual full-on paper. This is a perspectives piece. The perspectives piece means it's kind of a primer or an intro for the paper. And what they usually do is they get an expert from the field to write about a paper that is that has been published. So Smike, sometimes the perspective, if there is a perspective associated with the paper, it means it's an important paper, usually. Number two, perspectives don't always accompany papers that are published in the same journal. So having a perspective in science doesn't mean that the paper is also in science. In this case, that's not what happened. Both are in the journal, which is just, and it is a top tier paper. I wanted to, usually I don't highlight the authors or even a perspective. However, this gentleman, Lars Chikta, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. You have to rate him because I'm hoping to learn. I'd say thank you so much, More Beans. Appreciate the heck out the raid out of you. Or appreciate the heck out of you for the raid. I have a little bit of dad brain going on. More Beans, thank you so much. Have a good one, More Beans. So, this Lars fella is the leader of the bee cognition field. So if he is writing a perspective piece, hi Arjun Live, welcome in. How you doing, Arjun Live? If he is writing and leading the writing of the perspective piece, it's probably a big deal. Okay. Some trees have vitamin C depending on the tree needles that you lick. So Grimly, are you telling me that I should go back to licking trees? Chat, my mods are telling me to lick trees. You know what? I might be okay with that. I might actually be okay with that. Chat. So, what is this paper actually about? I like the perspectives piece because it's meant to be digestible, not unlike the trees, but like on a very easy level. It's supposed to be straightforward, to the point, exactly what the authors found, which I very much enjoy. Always be choosy about what you, indeed, tactics. Tactics, very wise tactics. So, this is not the paper. We're going to jump into the paper in just one moment. But this is the perspective. It says, bees learn to dance. Experience yields precision in the waggle dance of honeybees. There are things we have to dissect in that subtitle, right? What is the waggle dance? We will go into what the waggle dance is. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward of a title, right, folks? There is learning that happens on the part of the bees that makes them better at dancing. So we're going to do a little bit of dancing tonight and a little bit of learning. Can I perform? I cannot, Smikes. Primarily because of the speed. The way our bodies are not built lengthwise and widthwise the same as a honeybee. So when we do the waggle, it's not all of the body wiggling at the same time. At least I don't have the precision for that. Maybe one of our lovely, members of the community can. But I cannot, Smike. So it would be a very best way to put it. Just a bad representation of the waggle dance. Yeah. I also communicate with the waggle dance. Arjun, listen, some people can do it. I wish I could, but I just not very good. But try your best attempt. Optic, love your face, Optic nerd. Guys, speaking of love, also our friend High Tech Redneck Dev is in his house. Make sure you follow the only amazing legendary High Tech Redneck Dev. So let's just quickly read the abstract. Let's just talk about what they thought the point of this paper was, and then we're going to dissect each of these points. So many animals can guide or call other members of their group to a rich foraging site. That is already kind of telling you what the waggle dance does. It is a way the bees communicate to transmit information about a site of foraging where they can collect pollen and nectar. And yes, so Smikes, it is actually a combination of both. So Smikes is jumping the gun a little bit. But the hypothesis and the big question is the waggle dance an innate behavior? Are you genetically predisposed to being able to do it well, and that's it? Or is it learned, or is it both? Turns out it's a little bit of both. Young bees, it looks like, are born with the ability to do the waggle dance. They're just not very good at it. And they have to learn about what features need to be accentuated for better foraging sites. Like, they can do the base dance, but the intensity of the dance varies depending on how good the food source is. There's information on angling, on where to go in terms of distances and relative to the sun. So there's a lot of extra information built into it beyond just like, hey, go this way, there's food. We will dissect what it means. My mom used to say that when I couldn't do something. It's fine, let's go see your best attempt then. Optic, mine would say, well, I guess you're not getting into medical school. You better pull it together, kid. So someone just genetically... So there is presumably genetic variance, Mikes. There is genetic variance in the colonies, but they did it... We'll jump into it, but they did a cool experiment where they took naive bees only and asked how good they are at foraging versus when they have experienced individuals. And they repeated that a couple of times with a couple of different colonies, and it does seem like just naive bees by themselves are just inherently not as good. That was taking averages, not individual measurements. Some bees maybe start off with 2 left feet, but they eventually learn how to dance. Speaking of which, Smikes, I am my best friend's wife. So my best friend is Nate. His wife played the Wii. And I remember he was telling me this story one day. I was an undergrad. He's like, "Hi, Michael Hassler."
Say what?
His wife woke up one morning and she goes, Nathan. And he's like, "What is it, honey?" And she just goes, "I just have the urge to dance." And apparently she had a game on the Wii that she would play every day for dancing. And it, like, with the Wii joysticks. And then she jumped up out of bed and just started dancing with the Wii. And he was like, "I don't know what's happening. I'm going to go watch my Premier League match," because it was on a weekend. He's like, you could dance. It's totally fine. Like, he did not dance. He'd had multiple ankle surgeries from playing soccer. And so he was done with any kind of real movement on the dancing front of things. But that's the kind of 2 left feet. Anywho, by contrast, honeybees have a distinctive form of communication that allows them to send nestmates to the location of food source by using symbols. These coordinates are encoded by intricate movements, known as the dance, on the vertical wax comb in the hive, using gravity and time as references. The motions are as follows, followed by recruits in the darkness of the hive, who subsequently decode the flight vector and follow the dancer's instructions outside. Like many elaborate behaviors of social insects, this communication system was thought to be innate, as Smike said. However, the researchers reveal that bees not only deliver spatial information in their dances, if previously had the opportunity to attend dances by experienced role models. The communication system must in part be learned socially. So it's a little bit of both, Smikes. So here is the paper. Before we start delving into the crux of the paper, the meat and potatoes, we have to do a little bit of background research. But again, here is the title. And the title is, again, very nice and straightforward. Social signal learning of the waggle dance in honeybees. different colonies have different dances. So it's not the dance that they didn't know, Smikes. They know the base dance. However, in the dance, there are intricacies to demonstrate quality of food, amount of food, and more of directionality as a function of both gravity and the sun. And apparently those features the inexperienced individuals do not yet know how to do. So they can do the dance, but the additional so the dance, the rudimentary dance gives you directionality of where to go for a food source. And then there's built-in intricacies with the dance. Well, let's go over a little bit about animal cognition just in general, because I think this is an important question of just how the heck do animals even learn. And then we'll go into the whole idea of bee dancing, other bee biology. And then we'll jump a little bit more back into the paper and other examples of social learning. So we could use machine learning to figure out what they were saying to you. Yes, and we have. We have Smike. So machine learning has been able to integrate the dance and has been able to dissect the different components of the dance and figure out what the dance is actually telling the rest of the colony. And it's amazing because the other animals don't have this kind of communication, like the dance. But let's look in the minds of animals first. I think that's a good starting point. There we go. What a time to be alive. And yes, Nate would not be an ideal bee.
Your dog loves to curl up on the couch, but so do you.
And the reason I'm just setting the stage with the idea of if animals can think and have cognitive functions, because I feel like it goes really big into this particular study. Like there's a lot of thinking involved. Actually, before we continue the video, I'm gonna go say hello to the little baby Alona and Lita, and then we'll be right back. So just give me one moment to say hello to the wee lassie.
Gucci? Alrighty. Sorry, y'all. They just came in. Little one came in with the lovely Lita, and so I'm just making sure that everyone was doing well. So that's all. I'm sorry, Smikes. Alright, let's talk about this animal cognition here.
So you shoo him off and settle in for a cozy evening. After all, you're the human around here. You're an intelligent being, not a simple creature of instinct. You can plan and dream and... Oh. Did your dog just outsmart you and feel happy about it? Or was he just following his instincts? Is there even a difference? What is...
Hi, Gwen. How you doing, Gwen? Gwen P, welcome on in, Gwen P. Gwen, no real change to them. You can see there's some trash that's being moved outside. They're still going and cutting leaves here and there, but... Not too much happening, Gwen. How you doing, Gwen? Gwen, not really much change. No. But my representative for Gwen P. I don't know, Smikes. I don't want to push it up just for Gwen. Gwen is a national treasure, Smikes, and if we don't have Gwen to be a treasure for us, we both know what's gonna happen, Smikes. I don't want that to happen, Smike. So if anything, we're gonna push it down. Hi, Godally. Welcome on in, Godally. How you doing, Godally? It's good to see you. Gwen with the angry flip. Why
Gucci.
Smice, could you put the other table back as well? Could you? Because there's 2 tables that were flipped over there. There's 2 tables.
Together, we can rule the galaxy.
California Burbs! California Burbs, thank you for the resub. Callie, how are you doing, California Burbs? Burb for science indeed, chat. If you don't already know California Burbs, you're not doing life right. We shout out California Burbs here at the beginning of every stream because I love them and I hang out with them all the time. In fact, I'm hanging out with them so hard that there they are right there. There's this beautiful fountain here, chat. This fountain is actually gigantic. So that fountain is about, I believe, 10 feet in height, 30 feet in width. It is an insanely massive fountain. It's awesome. 43 feet. There's even there is a lore command about the fountain on the channel. They are one of the sweetest beings in the world. Callie, I wake up in the morning with Little Alone around 6:30, and I put it on, and it is this screen is up all day until I close the computer screen. So what, 19 hours, 18 hours at the least, it is up every single day. Thank you for the lurk, Enemy 96. Callie, it is up so much that I'm just like, and there was a point in time I was not subscribed to California Burbs, and I was like, it is not fair. I'm always there watching and having a good time. Like, the least I can do is sub. So chat, go follow California Burbs, go check out their stream, go sub to them, and go have fun. They also have very lovely emotes of dancing quail, rave dancing quail even. And also California Burbs, there was this lovely video that we had for our partner party where we had some of the friendos, say some really sweet things about us and the colony and the stream. And California Burbs is the one where you turned on the waterworks, Callie. That was the one that the putting the ducks into it, and it's just like, this is the family of the, and I was just, oh my god, I just couldn't, Callie, I just couldn't. It was like I was just oh my god. We rewatched it and I cried again. So California Burbs is because of the 60-foot 67. No, it's because of you, and also you're apparently a very tall gentleman. Thank you for the resub and welcome on. And hello, RPG Fandle. RPG, I have something from you. Chat. If you did not remember, we had a Antonia in your art style challenge. RPG Fandle did a piece, and hold on, we needed the other camera. It's beautiful beading that RPG Fan did. So this is all beads sewn together, and absolutely nailed the Antonia. Even the eye spots in the character are included in this. And then if you flip it, it's double-sided. And absolutely crushed the colors and just everything. RPG, this is so cool. Yeah, I don't even know what to say, RPG Fan. We looked at this, we looked at this when it came, and I still can't. No, RPG, I'm terrified to play with it. I'm absolutely terrified to play with it. Because I worry I'm gonna break it. So RPG, I actually put it back into the paper case that you sent it in, because I'm like, what if I somehow mess it up? Yeah, see, don't bend it in half. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. So Smikes, I was thinking we need to get some kind of like double-sided rotating something. Yeah, RPG Fan, how do we display this like in a lovely way? Like, presumably there's something that can rotate, right? I'm not sure. I am not sure, Smikes, how to do it. What size is it? Like, half the length of my head. Spikes is like, that is the worst metric I've ever heard. That is the absolute worst metric. So Gwen, I feel like those must be the displays that I'd be looking for. But I'm just not sure where to get it. Is that a metric head or an imperial head? I think it's part of the Rebel Alliance. RPG fan, thank you so much. Thank you so much, RPG fan, for that piece. It is beautiful and really, really appreciated. Really, really appreciated, good sir. You are far too kind to the colony. RPG fan, thank you. RPG, California Birds, what we're talking about tonight, we are chatting about bee cognition, about being yourself. But honestly, it's about honeybees and social learning, about how young bees are inexperienced and are unable to just innately do the waggle dance to confer information to their nest mates, and instead they have to learn it from experienced individuals. This has been something, RPG fan, that had been discussed and not fully settled on in the field of whether the waggle dance is either innate or learned. The general consensus is usually that these are innate behaviors, but they were able to do experiments where they separated out naive and experienced individuals, and then they were able to demonstrate that actually the answer is somewhere in between. There's an innate state that they're able to do, but they're also able to learn as well, and the learning makes them better at the dance. So we're kicking it off talking a little bit about just animal cognition in general, and then we're going to move in closer into bees. We're going to focus on the dance and the intricacies of the dance, some bee biology, and then social learning in general. And actually, the second news story of tonight, if we get to it, RPG fan, is social learning in elephants.
What's he thinking? Well, it depends on what we mean by thinking, and the criteria we use to evaluate it. Aristotle and Descartes both use the criteria of instinct and intelligence to divide animals from humans. Aristotle believed that humans possess reason, while animals could only follow brute instincts for survival and reproduction. Almost 2,000 years later, Descartes suggested a more extreme version of that idea, arguing that animals following instincts were indistinguishable from robots responding mechanically to stimuli in their environments. But the consensus against animal intelligence began to unravel with Darwin's theory of evolution. Darwin hypothesized that intelligence could evolve from simpler instincts. He had observed earthworms making choices about how to drag oddly shaped leaves into their burrows, and was struck that a human might employ similar means to solve a similar problem. And if, as he thought, humans are descended from simpler creatures, then perhaps our minds lie at the far end of a continuum, differing from theirs in degree, but not in kind.
So the idea being that animals do have this cognitive ability. And again, it's not going to be on everything, but the idea is that each animal is able to learn and have some kind of cognitive awareness to different degrees, which I think is a really cool concept. And that's something that we're just kind of delving into to justify maybe why we're seeing what we're seeing in the bees, if that makes sense.
Recent experiments showing that many species can solve complex problems confirm Darwin's initial hypothesis. Elephants use objects to reach inaccessible places. Crows make their own tools and can use water displacement to get a reward. Octopuses can open jars after watching others do so, and can even remember the process months later. Such tasks involve considering aspects of a problem separately from the immediate situation, and retaining the strategy for later use. Still, while animals can solve complex problems, how do we know what, or even that, they are thinking? Behaviorists such as Pavlov and Thorndike argued that animals that appear to think are usually only responding to reward or punishment. This was the case with Clever Hans, a horse with the amazing ability to tap out answers to math problems. But it turns out Hans wasn't especially good at math, but at reading his unwitting trainer's subtle, non-verbal cues for when to stop tapping. So Hans couldn't count, but does that mean he wasn't thinking? After all, he could interpret nuanced social messages, a quality he shared with many other non-human animals. Elephants recognize each other after years apart and even seem to mourn their dead. Bees communicate using a special waggle dance.
There again, there is the bees. So we'll see. We'll get a little bit more about that waggle dance as well. What was the hoax, Gwendolyn P? What was the hoax, Gwendolyn P? Was it the horse? Of course. I feel it's been taller than 4 inches, maybe. I measure it. You want me to measure it? You got it, RPG. RPG wants me to stop everything and measure it, chat. In any other stream, that might sound a little shady. It is 9 centimeters, Smikes. It is 9 centimeters in height. Yeah, so the horse story, Gwen, it turns out that based on existing data, the horse was reading social cues from the trainer based on this data. And not so much learning to count. But again, I'm not an expert on said story.
To indicate the location and quality of
Smikes, I already put it away, sir! I'll bring it out in a little bit, Smikes. I didn't know you wanted all length and width. RPG fan just said length.
a food source to other bees. Chimpanzees engage in complex deception schemes, suggesting not only do they think, but they understand that others do too.
Unless you want me to pull it out against Smikes and measure it again from the other side. Again, I am just talking about a piece from RPG Fan and nothing else filthy. So, just throwing that out there, Chem. Does face height vary with hair length? It can, but mine tends to go down tactics, so it's not extra floof. If it was extra floof, that might influence the whole length of the face. So 9 centimeters may or may not be half the face length in that particular time.
And then there is Alex the Gray Parrot, who could use human language to...
You got it, Spikes. Alright. Hold on now. The length, the height, length is 9. 4.5, Smikes. 4.5 centimeters. Yes, I am using King Philip. King Philip III. No, King Charles. Not King Philip. King Philip was the one that was trying to overthrow King Charles. It's terrible.
Distinguish the colors and shapes of absent objects, and even understand abstract concepts like bigger and smaller. That sounds a lot like intelligence, and not just the work of mindless machines. But while a non-human animal can solve problems and even communicate, for humans, thinking also involves consciousness, the ability to reflect on our actions, not simply to perform them. So far, none of our studies tell us if having the intelligence to outsmart us means that our dog can also feel good about doing so. What we really want to know is, what is it like to be a dog, or an octopus, or a crow? Philosophers of mind call this the hard problem, because while you and I can report...
Hi, Kitty Cat. Welcome back, Kitty Cat. Kitty Cat, we're talking science news of the week, and this one particular piece is about social learning and learning in honeybees. Learning including a beaded chain, but they're always weak to the point that can be damaged. The chain, gotcha, RPG. RPG, I do not know about the wizardry, but I love your face, RPG Fandle.
Report what it feels like to be a human. Nobody speaks horse. Even a talking parrot like Alex couldn't tell us how he feels about the colors he could name. And what if consciousness comes in different forms? Would we even recognize the consciousness of bees? For that matter, how can we know for sure that other people have consciousness? Perhaps they're just well-functioning zombies.
Speaking of well-functioning mothers, we have 9.5. Chat, if you're not checking out the breathtaking, amazing 9.5, you're not doing that right. 9.5, an amazing maker and crafter, gamer extraordinaire, and mama. Go check the amazing 9.5, 9.5. How you doing? Single greatest streamers of our generation. 9, welcome the heck in, madame. 9, science news of the week is about social learning and bees. And so we're just kicking it off with, wow, no, get wrecked. Absolutely not. That's a nerf right there. In fact, we're gonna double nerf that 9. It's nerfed by Kevin, and now get nerfed by Antonia. Yeah, you're exactly, as RPG fan says, a superhero. A superhero! It's your honor to be nerfed by Antonia. Love your face, 9. Welcome the heck in, ma'am. I hope your day is going well. Lovely stream as always earlier today. Chat 9 is an amazing, also does an amazing Twitch partner, not just with Twitch, but Stream Raiders as well. So go check out 9 for all things Fancy Pants. So chat, let's go into the honeybee dance. Why is the honeybee dance so cool? What does the honeybee dance entail? What is all the information within the honeybee dance that makes it so amazing?
Whenever I tell people that I work with honeybees, invariably
Webbed Challenge, thank you for the science news of the week today. Is about social learning and social signaling in bees, in particular in honeybees. And the crux of the story is, it's asking the question, is there a innate behavior of honeybee dancing that contains information that transmits information between colony individuals, or is it learned? Is it a learned behavior? So when the bees are born, do they have no idea how to do this behavior, and they in fact just all end up learning it? Actually ends up a little bit in between. We'll go into the data. But before we do that, we're gonna just talk about what exactly that bee dance is and some of the science behind it as well. We can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. Because if you don't, your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then no friends of mine. Sulu dance. It's like the Sulu dance. Have you seen the Sulu dance, Smikes? Have you heard of the Sulu dance? Now we have to watch the Sulu dance. Luckily, it's a parody, so we can watch the Sulu dance.
S-S-S-S-U-U-L-L-L-U-U-U Zulu dance. You can dance like Zulu.
Hello.
And shake your little behind.
Yes.
You gotta give it a chance when you do the Zulu dance, and your friends will say,
Oh my.
So yes, it is a combination of Captain Sulu from Star Trek and the dance that you just said, Smikes. Epoch, how are you doing, Epoch? Epoch, how are you doing, chat? Speaking of needing something in your life, make sure you're checking out our lovely and amazing friend Epoch, maker and crafter extraordinaire, artist extraordinaire. Epoch, I love your face. Epoch, if you would like the entirety of the Sulu dance, Epoch, there is the entirety of the Sulu dance for you. I have to do a butt wiggle to show my friends and loved ones nearby thread that RPG fan, you're a good person. Weird conversation with old friends, but I'm good. As long as it ended up okay, Epoch, and you're doing all right now, glad to have you here, my friend. If it didn't go well, then I'm still glad to have you here, but then we're going to try to make you smile, laugh, and chuckle even more than usual, Epoch. I might be a little bit extra silly willy, Epoch. I might even just, I don't know, yell.
Victory screech!
Sometimes, Epoch. Possibly. Actually, let's watch a video just on...
Sometimes they can...
Before we get to a lot of the science of it, let's just see like a straight up video on what the waggle dance looks like. Was well just unexpected. Love your face, in fact, Epoch.
To the untrained eye, this swarm of bees looks like a mass of squirming bugs, but a closer inspection reveals something amazing going on.
So the one to watch out for, right, is this painted one. And actually, if we zoom out here...
This swarm of bees looks like a mass of squirming bugs.
Here,
but a closer
here,
inspection...
you see there's individuals that are moving in almost circular-like patterns.
Reveals something amazing going on. And it has
waggle?
a crazy name.
Wait.
So it's doing a circle. It's doing a little waggle. We'll actually dissect what this looks like. So we'll have a better image about it. But if you look closely, you can see it in real time. Our friend Darren, Shraver Arts... Darren is another amazing artist who's in our Discord. He recently got honeybees as pets, and it would be really cool to ask him to take some video of his dancing bees as well.
Did I just hear a scientist say waggle dances?
Yes.
Tom Seeley is a bee expert at Cornell University, and he's about to show me one of the most famous animal languages in the natural world.
As she waggles, she's indicating the direction and distance to a potential home site to all of the other bees that you see tripping around behind her.
What? It's just vibrating, dude. How can that bee communicate something so specific just by shaking its little bee butt?
As it turns out, a few wiggles of those striped butts can say a lot. The waggle dance is the way bees communicate with each other, and its discovery in the 1940s was so astounding it won a Nobel Prize.
That kind of ability...
So, which is really cool, right? Nobel Prize for this information exchange to begin with. It was discovered first in the 40s. And it's this, so Vicky, this is such a powerful tool, this dance, that, so Lita, when she was an undergrad, she worked in a bee lab. And they had a scavenger hunt where the professor went out into a field and put out several tables. And on those tables, he either put nothing, or he put a thing of sugar water and a cooler full of beer underneath. And the scavenger hunt was the students had to figure out where to go, which table to identify, based on only examining the bees' dances. And so even we humans are able to dissect the information in the bee dance and use it to get to a particular destination. So if ever, Vicky, you are in a situation where let's say you're just needing some nectar and some pollen, and you have no idea where to go, but you have some bees near you, you can look inside the nest and actually get the information of where to go, which we will dissect this. Isn't it cool? It's really advanced communication for something as, quote, simple as a bee.
Is very, very special. You and I can do it, and bees can do it, but there are almost no other species on the planet that can do that.
Bees use the waggle dance to communicate the precise location of food sources and home sites to their hive mates. See this yellow painted bee here? See how every time she wiggles, she's facing the same direction? She's actually pointing her hive mates in the direction to fly relative to the sun to find a home site. And the length of time she spends wiggling is how far to fly.
So that's another piece of information. She gives you directionality. So the direction that she's dancing in is where to go. The length of that waggle is how far the source is. The intensity of the dance is how good the food source is. There's multiple layers of information of that dance. You got your Twitch partner stickers. Excellent, RPG fan. They're awesome. Still waiting on the mug, though. Gotcha, RPG. Everyone else has gotten them, so we'll have to double check and see if it was lost somewhere in Canada. Which is weird, RPG, because we've sent some to Canada. And they got them no problem. So we'll have to check and see, RPG Fandle. What in Canada has been happening. Bee equivalent of polar coordinate. Yes, indeed, tactics. Which is amazing to think about that bees can do something like that, right?
About a half second of dancing equals a half kilometer of flight distance. It's one of the few animal languages ever decoded, and our host, David Pogue, is about to become fluent.
Aha! This looks like one of your grad.
When you go to, I am not Vicky. Vicky, I took some courses on dancing for our wedding, but I am. I don't think I should be. I don't think. Actually, it might even be a TOS violation, Vicky. Might even be a TOS violation. We'll learn how to communicate like this. Thank you. I don't know what that is, Smikes. It's clearly someone else there. Clearly someone else. I want to learn how to communicate like this with my wife. I think that'd be pretty cool. It's cool, Epoch. I mean, in theory, you know, we can learn from the bees how to do it. Like, you can get the information from the bees. So in theory, you should be able to have that communication with any significant other as well. Right? Yeah, the curfew that I don't go to. Same here, Epoch. If all the parties that I never attend, they will be very confused.
Grad student slaves?
Hello?
David.
Hi, Michael.
All right, so how exactly does the waggle dance work?
So the waggle dance will work with a waggle run, which will point the direction of the box that you prefer, that you visited and you like. And if it's a nest site that's a...
Hold on. Hi, Spiritless Wolfheart. Welcome back.
short distance, she'll do a short waggle. If it's a long distance, she'll do a much...
Spiritless. I don't think that we'd ever want to. I don't think that we'd ever want to. Spiritless. I don't think we... That suggests that there's something negative about you, but you're a breathtaking, amazing soul. And so, Spiritless Wolfheart, I would like you to... I'd like to take that back, that thought! Unless it's a Gucci thought.
It's good, so it's Gucci.
Yeah, then it's all Gucci, Spiritless. It's all Gucci. It's all Gucci. I don't want you to think it's negative, because I don't think it's negative. I'm grateful to have you here. We're talking about social learning and bees. They have this dance that they do, and the dance transmits information to the neighboring bees in the colony of where a food source is, the quality of the food source, the distance to the food source. It's quite remarkable.
Longer waggle. But the actual pointing of the waggle will show where the nest box actually is. So she gets two things out of it, direction and distance. Well, first, you need...
Spiritless, when you learned it from Phineas and Ferb, what was Perry the Platypus's take on it? Because honestly, only Perry the Platypus's take on it do I trust. I do not trust Phineas and Ferb. I trust Perry. I even trust Doofenshmirtz more than I trust those brothers. Okay? Doofenshmirtz knows what's going on. If he said that they did, I'm like all on board. But Phineas, I don't know. It's just Ferb is a little goofy, and Phineas has like a very pointed head, and I just don't understand. And then so I just trust Perry on all things. I'm just asking the hard-hitting questions, Spiritless Wolf.
Need your bee goggles to make it really professional.
To protect us from the harmful rays of anyone watching us. I will be doing this?
Oh,
you don't think this is a job better left to the pros?
No, this is a job for all worker honeybees. Okay. So here we go. Gonna shake my money maker and I'm gonna make it happen.
Look, he's doing the dance, so I don't have to do it. No. So RPG fan, when the hive is threatened, there's a very different kind of dance. It is a vibratory movement similar to that's in part of what they're doing, but they don't have that loop portion. They don't have the loop portion in there. It's just aggressive moving, and it is they're releasing pheromones, alarm pheromones that gets everyone agitated and ready to go and up in arms. When we meet, can we only if we hug first, Mikes, please. Remember is that there's bee dance that shows, yes, so that's Spiritless, that's exactly what this is. And the question in the science was, is it learned or is it innate? Are they born with it? Is it genetically programmed for them to do this, or is it all learned in the colony, or is it a little bit of both? Turns out it's a little bit of both, which is always a fun thing to learn about. I'm afraid of bees, but same here, Vicky. I shouldn't be.
Thank you for the booties in the face.
I should not be. But it is, I don't like the idea of getting stung. I don't like
Together,
Travel the world!
the galaxy.
Travel the World, thank you for the resub. Travel the World, thank you for that support. Travel the World, how the heck are you doing today? It is great to see you, Travel the World. Thank you for all your support. I hope the day has been good. It's been lovely to see you at all the friendo spots with the lovely Jern and other places too. I hope all is going well at Travel the World. Is it bad to pet bumblebees? They don't seem to mind. It depends, as long as you don't injure their wings, Mikes. Doing well at Travel the World. We're doing well. Baby Ilona and Lita just got home. She went over to her mom's. And all is going well. That little girl is the cutest, patutest. And, oh, thank you, sweetness. I love you. And she brought me a beverage item too, chat. Hi, Golganak. Dropped me a lovely beverage item. Before we get back into the science news of the week, which is very cool tonight, it's about social learning and bees. Social learning and bees. So essentially the study is trying to identify the bee waggle dance, which we are talking about right now, what that is. What is the bee waggle dance? Is it genetically encoded or is it learned behavior? Channel always goes back to the colony, goes back to the channel. We upgrade things on the stream. We do school visits and donate samples, 3D prints, amber to students in the classrooms we visit. So I appreciate you guys supporting our mission as well of science and science communication. For those raiders coming in, again, we were talking about the bee waggle dance. We were just watching beginnings of the videos dissecting what the bee dance is and how it works. So that is what we're going to be chatting about. Also, folks, if you don't know our amazing friend Bentley, go check out our friend Bentley. Bentley, how you doing tonight, Bentley? Without your face, Bentley! We met Bentley through cricket. She's very breathtaking. Very lovely human. All right. Let's talk about this waggle dance. We're going to rewind. What they're doing now is this graduate student is telling and teaching this, I guess, PBS host how to do the waggle dance. A little silly, but let's go for it.
But the actual pointing of the waggle will show where the nest box actually is. So she gets two things out of it, direction and distance. Well, first, you need your bee goggles to make it really professional.
Protect us from the harmful rays of anyone watching us. I will be doing this.
Oh,
you don't think this is a job better left to the pros?
No, this is a job for all worker honeybees. Okay. So here we go. Gonna shake my money maker and I'm gonna make it happen. So here we go. Get ready. Loosen it up. We're doing shake it and then come back around and then shake it and then we'll come back around. And that's a circuit right there. Okay, so shake it, waggle, come back around.
Okay.
And
Dude, did you say you're in graduate school?
Yeah, I really don't know how that happened. Yeah.
So, I like that they actually.
Face.
I like that they did that RPG. Because it shows, number one, scientists can be silly. It humanizes scientists, which I think is important to do. And then number two, it's a very straightforward way to illustrate how the behavior looks. Right? I think it's easier to understand the loop and the shaking by having the person act out this dance. And now when we look and see it in a bee nest, it maybe is a little bit easier to visualize how that works. Like, I can draw it out, but like the dancing and seeing how they do it, I think it might make it a little bit easier. So before we get into like a big discussion on all the genetics behind
Gucci, baby.
It is very Gucci tactics. We're getting to genetics behind it. Let's do it in just another video on just talking about the bee dance. So this is, again, a kind of zoom in and close look to it. Thank you, Bentley. Youngest went to utilities company site for a field trip, so she taught me a lot about water and electricity. Nice, Bentley. It's awesome. Stink of my rear. That would not be fun at all. So sting of my rear. Do you know why bees die after they sting you? It's not because they have just spike on their butt. It is because the spike that they have is serrated. And our skin is hard enough when, after they sting, if they pull back, the serrations get stuck, and that's what pulls out their intestine. Some of the prey or predators that they would normally sting don't have the same kind of like skin texture as we do. And that means like they can sting those creatures and not die. So it's not that stinging yields death. It's just the serrations on their stinger gets them stuck, and that's what kills them. Which is wild, right? Hi, Coffee Rocks! Welcome to Coffee Rocks! Coffee Rocks, how are you doing today? Coffee Rocks, welcome to Hecking. We're talking about bee dancing, being yourself, and communication between bees. Do they know it will kill them? No, Tommy, they do not know. So actually, let's find an image. I want to show you all an image of it. They're acting on instinct. They're acting on, I need to protect my colony. The best way I can do that is to sting. And so they don't know the consistency of what they're stinging, because when they sting, their stinger goes through our skin. So even if they could tell after they've stung that texture is bad, they got nothing else they're gonna do, right? There's nothing to be done. Let's do an SEM image. Here we go. Yeah, this one. That's the image we're looking for. So here we go. I'm gonna increase the size of it for y'all. So stink. This is a scanning electron micrograph. So what that means is scanning electron microscope, not stereo, scanning. The reason it's scanning, Smikes, is because of how the image is taken. It's constantly doing, it's not a live feed, it's a constant pixel scan of how it works. And then with the stereoscope here, the stereoscope is here next to us. So you can see, Stink, here, that this barb is serrated like a bread knife. And when they're pulling back out from our skin, it gets stuck in them, and that's why they die. And it's quite wild that something like that happens, right? And the reason wasps don't die is because their stinger isn't serrated. Their stinger is sharp. Let me actually show you. Images. So this is a yellow jacket stinger. You want to ask the ferret a question, Stink. All right. This is Stink in my rear. You asked for this. Hell, Stink of my rear. You want to ask or say this is so cool? You are so cool, Stink. You are so cool! We have a ferret here, Stink, okay? Just so you know. Hi, Alex Vixen. Welcome in, Alex Vixen. How you doing, Alex Vixen? You breathtaking, amazing soul is Alex Vixen, chat. Legendary artist extraordinaire is Alex. He's from Farintonia, Stink of my rear. It's near Hungary. That's why the accent sounds the way it is. I don't know what to tell you. So this is why the wasp stinger, they can survive. Because you see it's not serrated. It's just a straight shot. And that is why you have this weird survival difference between the two animals. Makes sense, but it's remarkable that something like this happens, right? At least I think so. I think so. RPG. Here's the thing. Wholesome Expression Ferret feeds off of love. He actually doesn't eat food. If he is loved by anyone in the world, that's what gives him his energy. And so, if you love him in any way, in your heart, RPG fan, he has that energy. As long as one person has love for him, then he is totally okay. Hi, Make. How you doing, Make? Yeah. So there is differences in aggression. So Stink, there are actually honeybees that are extremely aggressive. They're called Africanized honeybees because a strain from Africa that's inherently more aggressive, if it incorporates into the colony, they become hyper aggressive. And even if there's only like 5% of their genetics are that component of like being Africanized, it's enough to drive them very, very high in terms of
In
aggression.
dreams,
Out
one
of
is
PG
not
Pendle!
tethered by
Sleep well.
earthly limitations.
What does that mean?
Come.
Sleep well, RPG. Of your face, RPG Fandle. Sleep well, RPG. I also noticed ants are more aggressive in hotter countries. Spiritless, I am not sure on if that is totally correct. I think there's more diversity of ants in warmer climates, and there tends to be more predators. So I think it might be a function of where they are and not so much of the temperature. Yes, so Rear, ants and honeybees evolved from wasps. Wasps are the common ancestor of both honeybees, or bees in general, and ants. Yeah. Deb's gonna go lay down. Debs, please take care of yourself, ma'am. Please get some rest. Ice it up. And just when you're doing the Mai Tai, Debs, just like, you know. Just the tiniest bit of, like, just rest, Debs. Just rest. Yes, exactly, exactly. Not all bees sting. There are stingless there are stingless bees, as Alex mentioned as well, which is also an interesting way to think to learn about, right? I grew up thinking that it's always bees all sting, but there are stingless bees. Till my body gets used to it. Debs, you take care of yourself. Some scary-looking ant species. There are paw prints. There are some very terrifying-looking ones. In particular, the scariest ones for me are the bull ant. Have you seen a bull ant paw print? Of course, it's in Australia. Let me show you what a bull ant looks like, and then we'll get back on the bees. The bee's knees, as it were. That's the bull ant right there. It's hyper aggressive, and its stinger has a very potent paralytic, and it can. Like, it hurts like the dickens, apparently, as well. Only red ants bite. Ants are smaller, whereas I've been on holiday, the black ones are bigger and tend to bite. I've always had biting ants. Always had biting guns. Not currently good at frame mind. Alex, if there's anything we can do, please let us know, Alex. Please let us know, Alex Wixon. Running barefoot in the grass, many bee stings. That, Marianne, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. And how you doing, Marianne? Once was swimming in a pool and came out with 7 ant bites. So Spiritless, fire ants swim. Fire ants make rafts with their bodies. They link each other together, and they're not dead. The way their surface tension is, they're able to have bubbles form around their bodies, and so there's a protective bubble that they can continue to breathe, and their whole colony floats. Oh my goodness, we're already gonna rabbit hole, folks. Guys, you know where we're going. We're gonna rabbit hole. I'm sorry. We have to do this. We have to rabbit hole right now. No sorry, Spiritless. Don't you dare sorry. A little, Smike.
This soft mound of dirt is home to some tough insects. Red fire ants. They're all over the southern U.S. And if you get too close, you will regret it.
They're not very big, so the size doesn't necessarily correlate to them like having a bad bite. It's interesting too.
They clamp onto you with their huge...
Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the colony. Not a fire ant colony. We're a friendly colony. We don't bite. We don't bite. We don't sting. Welcome the heck in. You are, in fact, now one of us.
One of us. One of us. One of us. One of us.
jaws.
Stink on my rear, gifting a tier 1 gives us the hybrid robotics. Thank you so much, Stink on my rear. You're far too generous, far too kind. If anyone's been hit with a gift sub, please thank your gifter and enjoy the ad-free viewing and emotes made with love. We make all of our own emotes here and do all of our own animations as well. Why do they have to bite? So, Marianne, they bite as a defense strategy. So their primary predators, most ants' primary predators are other ants. And the way they tell other ants is through a smell. You don't smell like them, so therefore you are an invader. And so when you go to mess with them, you smell different, and therefore you are a threat, and you will be attacked. I know it's not a very complicated system in terms of like, you could imagine there could be some problems as a function of that, like of how well or not well it works, but it's pretty remarkable. Like it's very simple. You don't smell like me, therefore you're bad. It might be because I just drove my lawn over their home. Nah, I wanted to drive my lawn over their homes tomorrow because I need to mow the lawn, but I think it's supposed to thunderstorm all day. So I might have to do it Sunday. We'll see. But I need to start cutting the grass.
And then they sting. Over and over. Rude. They inject nasty venom that burns and causes itchy welts to pop up. And if you think they're scary on land, you're gonna absolutely hate them during a flood. Imagine wading into one of these. This floating nightmare is made out of thousands of fire ants. They've escaped their flooded nest by making a raft.
And note, this part is underwater. That part is underwater. They're still all alive. It's because of the surface tension of their exoskeleton forms bubbles around them, allowing them to be protected. You see, they're the white as well as the babies, so they move the whole colony. The queen's in there as well, too. Yes, and Rear, if you would like to play the Pokemon community game, !PokeStart, that'll get you your trainer pass and your starter Pokemon. It'll get you 10 Pokeballs, and then you'll be able to start catching Pokemon.
From their own bodies. Here's how they pull it off. As flood
Nightmare, it's cool. It's cool, Tommy, but it's a little nightmare fuel. Sister was made the mistake of leaving her towel next to the swimming pool, and when she got out and put her towel around her, she got bit off. Spiritless, they are also attracted, most ants, to just humidity and water. So if there was anything that day of like, in terms of being dry, it was a dry climate or dry heat, they will go to a pool just to be able to acquire water.
Water trickles into the tunnels below their mound. Fire ants start a rescue mission. They evacuate the colony's babies, these larvae and pupae, to the surface. But researchers at Louisiana State University found that instead of putting the babies on the top of the raft where it's dry, they put them on the bottom. Listen, these ants have their reasons. See the halo of...
Yeah, so stink, it's a Latin conjugation, so the AE is plural, so pupae is the plural, and then it's pupa for singular. Same thing with larva. Larva is singular, and larvae, ending with an AE, is plural. So it's like the Latin root of it.
Of hairs on these larvae? If you look at the raft from below, you'll see how those hairs trap air bubbles and hold the larvae together in clusters. You know, like giant floaties. Those same bubbles help everyone breathe through tiny holes on the sides of their bodies. And hey, don't feel bad for these ants with their heads dunked underwater. They'll get their turn on top of the raft eventually. Workers grab onto each other by the tips of their legs called tarsi. Some of them hold onto the larvae too and lock legs, like ant scaffolding. And then they're ready to set sail, wherever the water may take them. Ants make these rafts really quickly. Check out this experiment.
This one's cool, Bentley. So this one, researchers at Georgia Tech were trying to analyze the physics of how this worked. So actually, this is a ball of ants, and he's trying to push it underwater, and he's trying to get it to sink, and it doesn't sink. In fact, Bentley, if you want to collect a fire ant colony, and this is no lie, this is what we do in the field. You go out, you get a bucket of water, you dig up the colony, the dirt, and you throw it in the bucket of water. And then you leave. 8 hours later, you'll have the colony floating on top like this. And you got your colony. Easy squeezy, lemon peasy.
A researcher at Georgia Tech drops a ball of fire ants into the water. It only takes them 2 minutes to assemble. This ability has helped red fire ants spread across the world from South America, where they evolved along the river's edge. Rafts can stay afloat for almost 2 weeks. They survive on
2 weeks. They can float. So that's why, you know, they're spread all across the southern United States. They're getting further and further north too. They're invasive. They're in many different parts of the United States. To ant butt spot, yes. Butt spot, yes. And this is one of the reasons how they actually, you know, continue to take over the United States, because they have these amazing survival features.
Food they brought in their bellies. With the whole colony to protect, workers are extra defensive. They sting with more venom than usual. Not a good time to run into them. When the water recedes, they'll dig a new nest and live their best fire ant life, eating whatever crosses their path and stocking up for their next getaway. Hey!
So there you go. Wolfart, I hope that that was a fun rabbit hole. Wolfart, I hope you liked that. I know it's a little bit scary, but I hope it's scary in a cool way. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, I will post the video on the Discord again if anyone wants to go back and look at it. There's a bunch of other videos on the subject as well. We have you can, if you're really interested, you can just tag me on the Discord and be like, I want to see a couple more videos. There's a few good ones off the Georgia Tech research as well, like when they're analyzing the physics ball of the ants and how all that works. Is really, really exciting. So what we were talking about, folks, is the waggle dance in bees and how that could be socially transmitted between exposed and unexposed individuals. So we're just going to look a little bit more into the dance and see what that dance is like.
Fly more than 6 kilometers to get enough nectar and pollen back, because they need a plentiful and vast supply. It's a huge problem, and to solve that problem requires massive organization.
So the question is just, the base study is, how can a bee know where to go? If, like, how does the information get exchanged? How do they know where to go, how far to go, what food to get? It's all in all of this dance.
But the bees have an almost incredible solution. Adam has set up an observation hive. It's completely dark inside, and so infrared cameras reveal what's going on.
There's all sorts of behaviors going on. Initially, it looks very chaotic. It looks like bees are everywhere. But you can see some vibrations going on and some movements that are actually part of a very sophisticated communication system.
The bees perform a striking behavior that's...
How far they travel for food. So ants don't go too far because the walking, but since they have flight, they will go for, I think the estimate was like 10 kilometers. And what's interesting too, Smikes, is that different workers will go different distances. So when they're directed towards a feeding site, they don't just go straight there. They do like a shotgun approach. So some workers will go on the edge, some workers will end up there, some workers will go along the rims. And so it's not just beep boop, it's whoosh. And so they fan out a little bit on the hopes that maybe there'll be better quality food in the neighboring areas as well. But they go, yeah, it's quite a fair distance.
It's key to solving the problem.
And there's the dancing one right there.
Gathering enough food. It's called the waggle dance.
The waggle dance is a very sophisticated way of directing foragers towards nectar in the environment. So it's sat-nav for bees. It's telling them where to go.
The waggle dance isn't just for show. This bee has found a good source of food, and she's performing a set of very precise movements to tell the others exactly where to find it.
And it tells them the direction and the distance of the nectar. The best way to understand how the waggle dance actually works is to get up high, because then you can get a view of the landscape in which the bees are operating.
Thank you, Golganag.
This church tower gives Adam a bee's eye view of the landscape. From up here, it's easy to see where the sun lies over the landscape and where it would be if it were on the horizon.
So you imagine the sun drops down to the horizon. That's the line the bees have to follow, and that's what the waggle dance is doing. It's giving them direction.
One of the dancing bees in the hive was waggling at an angle of 5 degrees. So, if this tower were a massive beehive, the waggle dance would be telling us.
So this is really cool. The angle of the dance is giving information relative to the sun where to go. Are there any SciAnts or Alpian projects leveraging computer vision and generative AI to protect language models? There are some. Think of my rear. There is some machine learning going into trying to identify how these behaviors work, what information gets them. You, Melissa with all the numbers. Chat, if you're going to have Melissa with all the numbers, that'd be like, right? Gamer extraordinaire is the legendary Melissa with all the numbers. Go drop them a follow, chat. So Sting, there are machine learning models trying to analyze the algorithms of how they work, of what are the patterns and how are they involved in what information is in them. There's that traveling salesman hypothesis as well of like in the tech world and the engineering world, like what's the best way to transmit information between two sources, and they actually utilize ant models on how to do that. So there is a fair bit going into it. The unfortunate thing is that most labs that work on ants don't have a lot of funding, and so there's only so much that can be done on that.
That the nectar is 5 degrees from the relative position of the sun, somewhere in that direction.
But they can also advertise distance, because the duration of that waggle run, that central component, tells the bees how far away the resource is. The closer it is, the shorter the waggle run.
So we know there's the dance, and there's a lot of information exchange within there. Let's actually go a little bit deeper in the power of the waggle dance. Let's see, not that one, this one, not this one. Here we go. Let's talk about these honeybees and what they actually do.
Invariably, I get one of two responses. Oh. Whenever I tell people that I work with honeybees, invariably I get one of two responses. Oh, honeybees. You work with honeybees. You probably like honey. And, oh, honeybees. You probably get stung. Now, it so happens that I do like honey, and I am sometimes stung. And while honey and stinging are amazing features of honeybees, today I'm going to talk to you about another feature, even more amazing and less known. A sophisticated communication system that is absolutely unique just to them. A system that allows the coordination of some 40,000 individual bees into a single cohesive society. When a forager has discovered a good patch of flowers, she comes back to the hive and she communicates the location of where they're located with the waggle dance.
So again, if you look in the center of this image, you'll see that waggle dance forming and some of the effects of it, of how it looks. We're going to then dissect what components there are of the waggle dance, and then we'll get into the paper as well.
Can you see the dancing bee? Okay, we'll make it a little bit easier for you.
I like the video where she takes away all the bees, by the way.
What you just saw was a bee running forward, waggling her body very quickly from side to side. This is called the waggle run. She then stopped, turned either to the left or the right, circled back in the return phase, and then did another waggle run. She repeated this circuit of waggle run and return phase many times. Let's see that again. Here's a waggle run and another waggle run. Now we are most interested in the waggle run.
From this, As if we knew where the angle of the sun was coming in, we can figure out the direction that this bee is pointing in and where to go for the food. Given the length that she's waggling in, it's a very short length, so it must not be at a great distance. And then the intensity is tough to surmise from this. We would need something to compare it to figure out how intense that dance is and how good it is. Humbler John, no sorries. No sorries, Humbler John. How you doing, Humbler John? Welcome on in. We were talking about the bee waggle dance and how experienced individuals train naive bees on this dance and how to do the dance correctly. Humbler John, I hope you've had a great day. Welcome on in. And no sorries, Humbler John. Indeed. Is that... I wonder what that emote is called. Pants. Yes, that is absolutely pants. That is 100% pants, Humbler John. That is in no way at all ever a butt. It's totally a dance.
I like your pants around your pants.
Big gamey. Big gamey got it. We do have the pants. Big gamey, well timed. I like your pants around your pants. Chad, if you're not checking out also some guy named V, aka V Gamus, you're not doing live, right? V, how are you doing today? V, have you heard about the pants around the pants? V, how you doing, V? Welcome on in. Some point in my life, I missed the fact that fire ants were rafters, but it makes so much more sense when you think of the areas they originate from. If you're likely to encounter heavy floods, it pays to be able to deal with floods. Yep, exactly, Golganak. And Flashstick, hi Flashstick. How are you doing, Flashstick? Welcome on in. Flashstick, we're talking about dancing bees and how they transmit the information between experienced and non-experienced individuals. Again, welcome the heck in.
Because within it are two pieces of information: direction and distance. The bee communicates direction by the way she faces when she's doing the waggle run. The bee communicates distance by the duration of the waggle run. So for this bee, she's dancing at about 270 degrees from up. This communicates that out there, the flower patch is located 270 degrees from where the sun is on the horizon.
So there we go. Like they utilize the sun as their zero mark, and then she's dancing this direction so that the bees know that the angle at which relative to the sun they need to fly. And then the distance of these waggles here, like how much she does, indicates the total distance away from the hive that the food source is. What a waggle run. So V, this bee will loop backward and then do this little run back and forth where she's wiggling back and forth like this. And so it's a way to transmit information of the colony where a food source is. Not only do they do directionality, they also do the quality of food. So the intensity of the dance is stronger if the food quality is better. Low quality food will create a kind of a meh dance. So if you want this kind of dance, if you want the dance in the center, that's good food. This dance here is like mediocre food. See how Antonio's one. We are chatting tonight about bees and social learning in bees due to this paper. Social signal learning of the waggle dance in honeybees. So we're dissecting what are the dances of honeybees and can they be socially acquired. And so this is what we're chatting about now, is that inside the dance of the bee, there's information on direction relative to the sun, on where other workers should fly to get the nectar and honey, as well as how good the food source is and where to go. I was wondering, what if you made a robot that bees think is an actual bee, can make the waggle run? Spiritless, I feel like that is being attempted. I think right now the size is the issue of being able to get that kind of like fine scale resolution. I think that's the holdup right now. But I feel like there are ones that are working on it. If you understand the physics of bumblebees, these are honeybees, Smikes. But I can't remember if we've actually figured out now the physics of bumblebees. Because there for a while it was like they shouldn't they shouldn't be able to fly based on their features, but I think it's been figured out. I do not remember, though. Do not remember. One question, why do wasps attack my head without fail? So, Demented, do you wear anything that's odored near and about your head, like aftershave or a shampoo or a perfume or anything that's odored? Going towards your head could be one of those reasons, and also there's water coming from your mouth and your eyes, and that humidity is what they're going for. So it's probably a hot, dry area that you're going in, and that's probably why they're going towards your face. Or you could be very good looking and dashing too. That could also be a possibility, but most likely it's a combination of both. We can also communicate with them using a robot. Yes, so Spiritless, I think it's the resolution right now of actually building it. That's the issue. We're still learning more elements of the dance, but the dance is probably figured out well enough we can program a robot to do it, but it's just, I think, the size of all the processors. But it's probably in the pipeline, I would imagine.
270 degrees from where the sun is on the horizon.
So
the duration of about 1 second communicates that the flower patch is located about 750 meters away from.
So we even have that Spiritless, that how much time the waggle takes, so it's 1 second, which is approximately 750 meters from the nest. So it's gnarly how much information is built into these dances. It happens even with multiple other people around. Okay, so Demented, I think it's you have the best odor and the best appearance as well. The frequency of the waves, so that frequency changes, Smikes, depending on the quality of the food. So the wave here is not constant. There is information built into it. So not just the length of the wave, but the amount of waves that are built in within a certain distance indicates quality of food. So the frequency is, I think we do have information on what it is in terms of what kind of, like if it's good food, bad food, and anything in between, but it's not a consistent measurement, unlike the distance. Smelling good to us, a compliment or not? Demented Doll, let's take it as a very good one. Like, let's take it as that you are breathtaking. You're not only very, very good looking, but you're also just great smelling. And that actually, because that would mean that you smell like their food source, which is a sign of life and growth. Yeah, that's all good things. All good things, Demented Doll. No people get lost going to the grocery store. Yes, Smikes. That is true. That is very true, Smikes. I have not gotten lost in the grocery store. When we had MapQuest, I would get lost.
From the beehive.
So how do the bees sense and dance? Sight, feel, hearing, all three. So Grimly, what's really strange is, right, this happens in the colony, and it's really, really dark inside the colony, right? So you would think that maybe vision isn't so much having something to do with it, right? However, Grimly, they can see in the dark. They have this infrared vision. So they can see each other doing the dances inside with us. Raiders, we're talking tonight about social learning in bees, how bees transmit information from naive to experienced individuals. Let us continue, folks. We're learning about how this information is spread between members of the colony. Kofi's trying to help me fund projects, trying to make an entire Scrabble board, game all the tiles, tile holders, board, and the box 100% Ooh, crafting squalls. That sounds really cool. I cannot wait to see that. That is going to be so freaking cool.
Together, this distance and this direction are able to tell all these other bees the location to the resource.
Chat, there is a sneaky individual that just came in here. He's very, very sneaky. He's extremely sneaky. Okay. His name is the coolest looking of Zedmans. He just snuck in here. Folks, if you could do me a big favor and give the man a follow. He is almost at a follow goal. He's not going to say anything. He's very shy about saying these follow goals, but he is a full-time streamer, content creator extraordinaire. He does the YouTubes, he does the Twitch, he does the Instagram, he does the Twitter. Folks, if you're not already checking out the one, the only, the breathtaking, the handsome as ferret looking cool Zedman, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Please go drop him that follow. Let me do that shout out right now, folks. Please go follow Looking Cool Zedman. Why? Come on, dude. Come on, OBS. There we go. Go follow Zeddy. Hi, Zedman.
You are wholesome as ferret. Yay!
Zedman, we also have the Zelda command, courtesy of you. Zedman requested a custom Antonia for 100,000 channel points, and he wanted a Zelda. So that's Zelda running across the screen and doing that jazz. And then we have a couple of new ones that got 3D printer animation now too. And then of course, Zedman, we have Poosh 2. For that Ambassador Poosh. Hello, Freshie! How are you doing, Freshie? Happy Friday. Social science reveals the complexities of human motivation, hiding the unique blend of rationality and emotion that distinguishes us from insects and animals. While they may act on instincts, we have the power to reflect, choose, and adapt our behavior to achieve our goals. That may or may not be true, Freshie. But welcome the heck in, Freshie. How are you doing, Freshie? Welcome on in. All right, chat, let us continue on our bees.
So here we have our hive in the foreground, the sun on the horizon.
So she's now modeling for us what exactly the dance showed. So remember, the bee was pointing 750 meters this direction relative to the sun with the angle. Let's see where she's actually going.
At 270 degrees from the sun on the horizon, 750 meters is the good stuff. Now, at any one time in a hive, most of the dances that we see going on are for nectar and pollen.
Crafting Squalls! No sorries, Crafting Squalls! It's great to have you here, Crafting Squalls. It's great to have you here. Good science starts with observation. So Smikes, I wish that has to be nerfed. I'm sorry, Crafting Squalls. You said there's no need for that. Sorry. There's no tears. No tears either, Crafting Squalls. There's no need for a sorry. I want you to take care of yourself. Self-care is health-care, no matter what employers will say. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be here, and you're more important than any kind of job. Also, Crafting Squalls, we want to thank our stream team leaders, Derek and Devin of Moko Made, for helping you get to that 500 follower mark. Folks, also please go follow Derek and Devin at Moko Made. You will not be disappointed. Our lovely stream team leaders. You should probably eat yes.
Who let the ants out? Let's go!
I would be very sad. Look, Crafting Squalls, I haven't eaten yet either. If you eat, I'll eat. How about? Not on stream. I will eat after the stream. I will eat if you eat. Okay? I'll make you that deal. If you don't eat, I won't eat tonight. Lita made me a special meal. I'll just throw it away. But no. Crafting Squalls didn't eat. And she'll be like, what? Potatoes and steak, that's right in the stream? Okay. Crafting Squalls, if you go eat, I will eat tonight. That's the deal. I'm sorry. No. I didn't know. You're fine. I was just being silly. I'm sorry. I will eat. I will eat as well. It is not dependent on you eating. I was just making a attempted silly.
This is the food. But bees also dance for new nest sites. Bees dance for water on a really hot day. Bees will dance for tree resin when they need to plug up holes in the hive. So a bee will dance anytime there's a resource that the colony needs.
But these other dances, folks, have different information in them. So they can delineate whether it's for food or for colony repairs or anything in between.
And in all those different contexts, the bee uses the same mechanism of giving a distance and a direction. Bees also indicate quality, because the better of the resource, the more of these waggle runs she'll repeat within the same dance. When bees visit flowers for nectar and for pollen, they also are providing the plant and us with an important service of pollination. This bee is collecting nectar from an apple blossom.
The understanding of these social cues has to be innate. Yes. So Smikes, actually, in the study that we were chatting about, they had an experiment where they took these newly enclosed naive bees and put them into their own colony to examine what they did. They went and foraged, and they also danced, and they foraged where the dancers said to go. But the dance itself was not as efficient. So what that experiment says is the dance is innate, the interpretation is innate, but the quality of the dance and how good the information is learned. So yes, that is 100% correct. There has to be then an innate understanding of those social cues.
But while she is taking the nectar from the blossom, she's also getting dusted with pollen on her body. This pollen she takes with her when she goes to visit the next blossom. Now it's these bee visits that will turn this into...
Shouldn't we CRISPR before we are sure? But what? What would we CRISPR? Right? So if we don't know the genetics behind how that works, we don't know what gene to turn off or on. And so I would hope that that is a plan for the next time, but we don't know it yet. Actually, it's weird, Smikes. Bees are very difficult to genetically modify. The reason for that is if you put them back into a nest after injecting them with the components for CRISPR, if they're at all damaged, they'll be eaten. If you try to make a genetic line, so Smikes, the best way would be is to make a line of mutants that all have this mutation you can just maintain. The bees can detect that there is this thing called genetic depression, which is that they're highly inbred, which is what happens if you try to make a genetic line. You want them inbred because otherwise there would be genetic variants. They start killing that. They kill the queen that you made and then create a new queen. So you cannot make genetic mutants with them. There's been one attempt to make mutations by RNAi or RNA interference to turn down certain genes. So crafting squalls, that is a feeding attempt. So if there's from the DNA you make RNA, from that you make protein. The RNA, there's this thing called RNAi, which if you feed the insects, it will turn off the mRNA, the RNA level. So therefore they won't make any protein. The DNA goes untouched. It's just the RNA is destroyed. The CRISPR-Cas9 that Smikes mentioned, you can go in and you can mutate a particular site of DNA to turn it off. And so if you turn it off, then the gene is dead. The thing is that bees are very able, or if somehow, we don't know how, are able to detect that there's been genetic manipulation done on them, and they will be like, nope, this is a sign of inbreeding, or this is a bad thing for the colony, so we're just going to nerf this. Donnie! Or Donnell. Hello, Donnell Freak. Welcome on in. Thank you for the lurk, Donnie. How are you doing today? Welcome on in. But yeah, squalls, it's quite wild what they're able to do. Folks, our friend Donnell, I met at a Twitch meetup. Unfortunately, we haven't had any since the mass layoffs, but make sure to go check them out. Do a lot of MLB video games as well as other kinds of sport games as well, and start chat sports. And really kind guy. I think you'll like them. Go check them out. All right, let's continue on the bees. Thank you. Andrew, you knew what he was gonna say. Andrew knew what he was gonna say. He said Andrew knew what he was gonna say.
That taste, that nutrition, that.
Hi, Andrew. He's a MLB. I'm okay with that, Squalls, because you didn't say. Oh my God, no! Hi, TD Fox. Crafting Squalls, you didn't ask me if I like to eat an apple bees nuts. So that because of that, I'm okay.
Be excellent to each other.
How you doing, Andrew? So, I was gonna ask how, if I tell my hive mates whether I was dancing about nectar, resin, or other. Yeah, so there's different styles of dancing on that front. TD Fox, we're dissecting a paper that was looking at how honeybees do transmit information from experienced to naive individuals about dancing, and the dancing actually has built-in information about where food resources are. And that is what we were chatting about. You love bees? I like bees too. Crafting Squalls thought my joke was funny. I'm Crafting Squalls. I'm glad you had a chuckle at my bee joke. Guys, speaking of having a fun time, make sure to follow our friend, the Greco-Roman God, built like a Greco-Roman God. Very handsome, very kind, the left-thinking Andrew CZ, folks. We will give him a shout out in 24 seconds. Andrew, again, tech chatter, workout streamer extraordinaire. And one of the coolest people around, folks. If you're not already checking out Andrew, not dropping in that follow, please do so. Otherwise, you will have tears raining down your face. And you don't want tears raining down your face. You want happy tears. And you can have happy tears by hitting that follow button that's on top of chat. Right? Now. Welcome back, one of the... And welcome back, Tandem44. Welcome back, both of y'all. Welcome back. I do dance when there's food resources. Me too. I do like to dance as well.
She goes to visit the next blossom. Now it's these bee visits that will turn this into this. Honeybees are the primary pollinators for some 50 plus fruits and vegetables that add diversity, that add taste, that add nutrition, that add coffee to our table. The proportion of our diet that needs insect pollinators is increasing. It's increased some 300% in the past 50 years. Meanwhile, the number of bee colonies in the world is declining. One reason for this decline is that there's simply less food available for bees. Crops are food, yes, but crops only bloom for limited periods of time. That means for the rest of the summer, for the rest of the autumn, our bees are confronted with beautiful, bucolic, rolling hills.
See, is there a dance that triggers attack mode if something... Yes, Tandem. So there is an aggressive dance too, although most of the aggression comes from pheromones, but the dance itself is more directing where the threat is. So it's almost it's an exponential threat curve. So if you start off dosing the colony with that threat smell, they get aggressive very quickly. It's not a gradual aggression. And then they have direction on where to attack based on the dance. And again, it's slightly different from the food dance, but again, their mode of communication is through this dancing.
Of grass. This landscape provides very little forage.
You think it's bad to keep bee hives on the homesteads and stuff? Nope. Crafting squalls, if anything, it's beneficial because they're being cared for. There's a lot of crafting squalls. There are companies that you can hire to come out to your farm, release bees, like we're talking hundreds of bee boxes, keep them there for 2 weeks to pollinate everything, then they pack them up and move them on. So having on your homestead, there's, as when you're taking good care of them, there's nothing wrong with having them. We've talked about having an observation hive here in the office that we can have a live stream on. So the goal, the long-term goal is on that our Chilling with SciAnts channel is to have both social insects, both bees and ants, that you can trigger and view the differences in their behaviors. And that would be with an observation hive. And so that's a downstream goal for us. We did price it out, but we need to have the observation hive custom made, and that's about a 3 or 4K proposition. I don't mean resolution, I mean dollars. And so that's not currently in the budget, but downstream that's something that we'll be doing. So y'all can be able to check on the bees as well.
For the bees.
And by observation hiving, I mean it's like a 2-glass plane. Thank you, Andrew. 2-glass plane, like totally glass, and you can see inside of it all the time. How long can they survive on low food time? So overwintering coffee, they produce a lot of honey, which they're utilizing for those low food times. So it's honestly dependent on how big the hive was and how much food they built up. Unfortunately, though, it's weird coffee. If you let them build up too much honey, they can overpopulate, and then you'll get swarming behavior, meaning that part of the hive will try to break off and create a new hive elsewhere. So they have that that density regulation built into them of like how big a colony can be, and if it gets bigger than like a certain threshold for like whatever space you put them in, they try to break off. Notice more honeybees this year than last. Good. That's good news, Tatum, because they're unfortunately in steep decline.
The next time you're in the supermarket and you're strolling down the aisle, look at the jars of honey and realize that for every kilogram of honey that you see, that is some 50,000 individual bee foraging trips. Our work aims to understand where in this, the existing landscape, the bees are finding the flowers that they need. Knowing where an organism collects its food is important for any conservation effort. So here, the RSPB is accessorizing a bird with a GPS device. But not only do they need to capture this bird and put this device on its back, but 7 days later, when the battery runs out, they need to recapture this bird, get this device back, and then get the data. This device records where the bird is collecting its food. But we don't have to do this with the honeybees because honeybees tell us where they've been. Returning foragers only dance for good resources. So that means that every dance that we see going on inside the hive, it's a vote that a bee is casting for where she thinks the society needs to concentrate its efforts. Better resources means more repeated waggle runs, so better resources means a stronger vote for that particular site. In our work, we eavesdrop on these conversations. We video record waggle dances and we decode them by hand.
It's really cool to be able to have this. Are they male? Nope. So crafting squalls, everyone in this colony who matters is female. The male's sole purpose is a seasonal pulse to mate them. To mate, that's their only purpose. Everyone else is female. All the workers are female. The queen is a female. The males are called drones, and all they do again is mate. I don't even believe they have stingers. So that, and the very similar fact in ants as well. Crafting squalls. All the ants in the colony that matter are female. The males are small-brained, small-headed, winged individuals that show up seasonally to mate, and then they die. Yep. All ladies. It's crafting squalls. It is the ultimate girl power colony, and how to show off the like it's all run by ladies. Rewind, yes. Yep, male ants have wings, crafting squalls. If you look, there's certain seasons, if you look outside, you'll find a bunch of like winged ants. Those are unmated queens and males doing a mating flight. They have wings because they fly out of the colony, they mate. The males then soon after die, and the queens land and start building a nest. Nope. So squalls, they both spread their genetic information. If the males couldn't fly, then the queens would mate with males from their own colony, and then you're getting genetic inbreeding. So they get genetic variability. They fly out of their colonies. They find different males and queens. They mate in the air. Males live like 2 to 3 weeks. They die, and then you have the queens start the colony. Males do nothing. There is no work that they do beyond mating. Do any hive have more than one queen? No. So actually, Coffee Rocks, there is for a moment you will get them to make another queen, but if there are 2 queens, they will challenge each other and one will kill the other. They do not allow for 2 queens in honeybees. In some ant species, there are 2 queens, but it's also not necessarily the most common thing. It's quite madness, right, Coffee Rocks? You can get them to make another queen, but yeah, they don't stop. They fight. The 2 queens fight. One decapitates the other. It's kind of metal. No, crafting squalls. Crafting squalls, that's why we're here. You ask questions and we answer. There is none of this self-deprecation, crafting squalls.
Duration, we get from software.
And Coffee, what the molecule... We actually know the molecule that creates a queen. It's called royal jelly. It has these epigenetic modifiers in the jelly. So the same genome that would make a worker is the same genome that makes a queen. It's just some of the genetics are the gene expression is modified via this food source called royal jelly, and you can actually isolate royal jelly or the molecules within it that's important and feed it to a bee larva and push it towards becoming a queen. So it's that pathway has been figured out in bees, but not in ants, which is kind of neat. Royal jelly is 100% a real thing. Absolutely, crafting squalls. Absolutely, the workers feed the larvae royal jelly. It's still like the jelly that they would normally feed the workers, except there's other modifiers in there, and that's what makes the queens. Hi, Peter Steves. How you doing, Peter?
Angles we measure with protractors, and this we do over and over for every month that the bee is foraging.
You look cool, Peter Steves. Jelly is a funny word to you? It is a funny word. It is. It's not an unsettling word. You just came back from a pub. What did you have, Peter Steves? Did you have some beverage items, Peter? Or a meal item? Or both, Peter?
Just to give you a little bit of an idea of what this looks like. Here are data from August 2009, which is when I first moved here to start working on this project. The center of the graph...
Rum and Coke and fried pickle and goat cheese. Ooh. Peter, that sounds delicious. I appreciate that, Peter. Thank you, my friend.
Is where our lab and the bees are located. The concentric circles from that center show 2, 4, and 6 kilometers. And every yellow X that you see...
Hi, Hugin! Welcome in, Hugin. How you doing, Hugin? How you doing, Hugin? Welcome in. Goat cheese had a sweet sauce, very heavy on the cheese. I love it with the cheese, though. That sounds delicious. No worries, Crafting Squalls. Crafting Squalls, you take your breaks. Ma'am, you do not then want to see the number of discords that I'm in. It might give you anxiety. It gives me anxiety. And the number of unread messages gives me even more anxiety. Sometimes I occasionally go and right-click and hit read all on some of them that I'll never read because it just makes me uncomfortable. How you doing, Hugin? Welcome in. So this is a heat map of everywhere these bees went. And you can see they're not going in this quadrant, but they're all going in these quadrants.
Is a bee foraging location that we have decoded. Now it's striking if you compare August 2009 with the following March 2010. What we show here is representative of what we're finding in our research, using the waggle dance to see where bees forage. The bees are having to fly 6 times further in August compared to March.
So this is kind of a map for you, Coffee Rock. So you see March distances versus August distances. So when there is a lot of blooming, they don't have to go far from the hive. But when there is no blooming, you have to go much, much further. Everything in a folder, Marcus, that Crafting Squalls, that makes total sense. I don't Crafting Squalls. If there's another sorry, we have to nerf it. But I will give you an air horn for your pun. The pun is great, but no sorries. I want you to be yourself here, Crafting Squalls, please. The distances, so Andrew, each of these, the radii of each of these is it changing? It's 2,000. 2,000 meters for each of these. So here is 2,000. Sorry I'm late though. Wow, that's another nerf, Hugin. So naughty, Hugin. So naughty. Hugin, you know very well you're not supposed to be saying sorry. So each one of these, so Andrew, this distance, oh, you can't see my cursor. This distance here is 2,000, another 2,000 meters, and another 2,000 meters. Same scale on this one here. So that, and they will go further than 6,000 meters. I believe the largest report I've read is 10K.
Now, flight is hard work. And the bees are really good at weighing up the cost of a longer distance flight against the benefit of the food they collect.
Big Gamey, sleep well. Have a great rest. Take care of the mini Gamies. Take care of Mrs. Gamey. Please give Cheeto a squeeze from us.
In dreams, one is not tethered by earthly limitations.
What does that mean?
Come.
Master Lee! Sleep well, Big Gamey, you handsome devil, you. Thank you for everything you do, by the way. Seriously.
So in other words, bees aren't going to fly 6 kilometers if they can get what they need at 1 kilometer. We take these graphs and we put them on maps, And this lets us see where the bees are going, and just as importantly, where the bees are not going.
Hear me out. Females are pretty good at math, and female bees, that might have a connection, crafting squalls. I'm not sure. How do bees react to the song Flight of the Bumblebee? I have no idea, Hugin. I have never heard that song. However, there are occasional studies on music reactions in animals, like how they change their behavior to different notes. I'm not sure if that has, like, what has been done in bees. I'm gonna be laughing. It's a cool song. Gotcha. Yeah, Tandem. If it's not Godsmack and Hard Rock, I have no idea what it is. I know the Pants song though. Hugin, do you know the Pants song?
I like your pants around your pants.
I know that one, Hugin, but beyond that, it gets me.
And now, 2.5 years on, we've decoded almost 7,000 dances. And one...
It has been studied in fruit flies. Music. A man-o-war version of it? I don't know if jellyfish can play instruments, but... It would be cool if they could, but I haven't seen it before yet, Cliff. Not God's, it's true. I'm sorry, Andrew. Sorry, Andrew, Cece.
One thing that we see is that in the springtime, there's a lot of flower available, a lot of flowers there. So in the spring, the flowers compete for the bees.
Awesome. That's Skeleton. Thank you, Crafty Squall. I gotta check it out after the stream. Excited to see it, Squall. No sorries, all the sorries, Andrew CZ. I am a sorry, weird-looking soul. But I love your face nonetheless.
But in the summertime, the bees compete for the flowers. So a simple recommendation that is coming out of our work is if you want to help honeybees, plant something that blooms in August.
Because I can't follow my own advice, Squalls. Squalls. Yeah. Come on then, Squalls. Stay with me here.
A honeybee society is more than just 40,000 individuals in a loose confederation. Faced with the very real challenge of finding food and finding shelter in our landscape, the society works together as a cohesive unit. And just a side note about royalty, the honeybee queen, this beautiful lady in the middle with the paint dot, she does not direct operation. Her job, her only job, is to lay eggs. The daily operations of the bees...
There's the queen to Squalls. I don't know if you've seen her, but she is, you can see, visibly bigger than the neighboring workers.
Society is accomplished without a leader. Perhaps the best example of this leaderless democracy is seen when a beehive moves home. When the colony needs a new nest site, it will leave its old nest site and it will assemble somewhere nearby. Scouts will go out from this assembly and check for new potential nest sites. If a scout has found a good possible real estate, she comes back to the assembly and she communicates the location of the new potential home using, any guesses? The waggle dance, yes.
So Coffee, this is what we were just talking about. When it's time for that colony to split, the bees are very interesting. They've left the colony, they left the hive, and there's just a swarm of them in a ball. And inside that ball is the queen to being protected, and then there's other ones moving back and forth trying to identify a good nesting site. They come back to this ball of bees and dance on them to identify where there are sites, and eventually there's a consensus that is reached of where their new colony should be. I will be kind to myself and others. I can become successful if I try. Someone else's bad mood doesn't have to be the reason. I have a bad day, I can ruin my own day. Thank you, Squalls. Affirmation of being yourself. Thank you, Grafting Squalls, for that.
Here we have an assembly, and a scout is casting her vote for a new site located at 90 degrees.
So this dancing coffee, there's also context in there. They're not out inside a nest anymore. There's different odorants that are also being like transmitted between them. And so they know it's not for food because of they're not in a nest site. So it might, and it looks kind of similar too, but they've actually done like high-res videoing to show there are subtle differences between the dances that we maybe can't see by eye, but the bees can detect. There's also different odorants that are released as well on top of it to make it even more complex.
Meanwhile, another scout casts a dissenting vote at 0 degrees. The assembly gives equal weight to these votes, and they themselves go out and check them, and then can come back and vote themselves.
That's how they decide a new site, is how much dancing, like if there's a consensus dance for a particular location.
The better the site, the more attention, the more repeated waggle runs, ultimately the more support. At some point, scouting ceases. Quorum is achieved. And then, in an amazing display of unity, in a matter of minutes, the entire assembly will depart en masse and fly together to the new nest site.
That mass is just leaving, right? It's just really cool to see, I think. Maybe a little alone doesn't think so, but I think so. Yep, so this is a swarming stage. So when they're stationary and stable inside the colony setting, like in their hive, and then this is when like either something happened to the hive, so they need a new site, or part of them split off due to sizing, and they have this swarming behavior. There's also epigenetic changes in here, Andrew. Like there's genetic regulation that's changing to tell them to go into a swarming-like stage, and they either go off with an existing queen or they can go off with a new queen as well for this. Every micro movement, every movement after work lets us understanding. Yeah, it's squalls. Like I like how Smike said it earlier. A lot of it is just observation and making sure that you're just paying attention to the natural world around you. And if you just weren't, it's like how we say here on the stream, be curious, not judgmental. If you weren't being curious about the world around you, you would never have come across these really cool behaviors. And unfortunately, the finances are an issue, like how much money can go into it to identify and learn about it. But, you know, over time, folks have learned more and more. Yes, it does, Professor Andrew. Almost gone. Remember how dense it was at the beginning of how many bees? A couple of stragglers, but they're all like in Unity, flying off. Not the Unity game engine, which Irish John uses.
Each bee, though she may have originally voted for a different site, will ultimately go with the consensus. Because in honeybee democracies, debate is central, but majority is the rule. And I'd like to thank all my friends who helped me collect these photos and these videos, and to you for being such a terrific audience. Thank you.
So I really liked her talk. I think it encompassed a lot of the findings. What's expression ferret squalls? Do you don't know the ferret squalls? Squalls, how dare you not know the ferret? Squalls, that is our ferret character. Hello, crafting squalls. How do you not know me? How do you not know me? I am here to tell you how you're a breathtaking, beautiful maker and crafter. Extraordinary. You are very kind. You are very loving peoples. You take care of the insects. And you make beautiful items, crafting squalls. I want you to know this. I am from the land of Farantonia. Yes. I tell you these, squalls. I tell you these. It's very true. Very fact. We're glad to have you here, squalls. Please do not question my existence. If you do, I will cry. Just like when I cried when Gwendolyn P made me cry the other day. It was very sad. I had fire tears coming down my eyeballs. And it made me very damp, and then I had to take shower and take dry off, and it was very crazy time. This is true, and this is fact. Yay! Okay, so the paper was actually just analyzing how this bee dance changes as a function of age and experience. And what they found was pretty straightforward, but it was the first demonstration of this ever been the experiment being done. They separated newly hatched naive bees from an existing bee colony, and they compared and contrasted how good they are at flying out and identifying a new food source. Zedman, that is not accurate, just so you know. I have not had that turned on since the beginning.
We can't live in our dreams. Chemistry, cause we rocking out with science streams. Science, but we ain't bugging, we studying. I know that we up here making sure that the beat is so snug.
Y'all know who the live break beats master is, right? That is the one, the only legendary Thug Shells. Thank you, Hugan. Please go check out the lovely, amazing Thuggy, folks. You'll never be disappointed by Thug Shells. So, B. Again, naive bees still danced. They still sought out the food based on the dance. So they were able to learn about how they interacted with the other colony members, and they're able to interpret that information. So there is an element of innate behavior to it. How, Professor Shell, this paper, we're talking about the bees waggle dance. Bees dance to transmit information between individuals about where there is a good food source. The direction of the dance, the intensity of the dance, the orientation of the dance, all give information about how good the food source is, where the food source is in relation to the sun and the Earth's magnetic field, and what distance it is from the colony. Turns out that this dance is in part innate, so it is genetically hardwired into the animals of how to do the dance, but their dance is not perfect when they hatch. Instead, they still need to learn how to perfect the dance. And so this paper looked at and demonstrated that for the first time, we now know that not only there is a bee waggle dance that is innate, but it's not perfect when they hatch. They have to learn part of it. So it's demonstrating that, yes, there's a genetic element to how this dance is done. But on the other hand, the bees need to still learn from experienced individuals on how to perfect their dance. And this was a study published in the journal SciAnts, March 9th, so a pretty recent publication there. And yes, Astronomy Show, also in the His House, live astrophotography extraordinaire. If you're not already checking out Astronomy Show, please to check out our friendo, the Astronomy Show, chat. Bean is in the His House as well, folks. Now, Celestial Bean Art. I have to show y'all one thing before we do our next study. I got a beautiful piece of art from Bean. So Bean, Celestial Bean Art, is a legendary artist extraordinaire. And this is her artwork from the Antonia in Your Art Style for our partner party. And you can see there is Antonia, and there's Bean's character, and there's also the lovely ferret. And she signed it as well, with love from Bean. She also sent us, folks, in addition to sending this beautiful framed piece of Bean art that's signed, I got a lovely card, Celestial Bean Art card. Yes, the lovely Celestial Bean Art card. And a pin of an axolotl. It says, thanks for being an amazing friend. Here's a little axolotl for you. And another sticker of Bean, of the best Bean. So chat, mods, can we please give Celestial Bean Art a fancy hands, pinky out, shout out. As well as to lovely Constable, who is another science communicator from the land down under. And no, I do not mean Africa, I mean Australia. How you doing, Constable? How you doing, Constable? Welcome on in. Was it you who showed? Yes, so bees are very smart, Hardshell. They can be trained to play soccer. actually. I wonder if I have that ready to go. I have it ready to go. Hold on. We can pull up a video. They can be trained to play soccer and other things as well. Constable, you just missed the study, though. We just finished talking about this study. Bee soccer. But it will be on the VOD, and it is on the YouTubes as well. Oh, y'all can't see it at all. I am going on there. No, we're not finished, Cliff. We're just finished with this one story. Thank you so much, for too kind, Professor Shell. With the bees, yes, Cliff. So see, they used a plastic bee to teach the existing bee that if you move the ball into the center of the loop, then you'll get a sugar reward. And yeah, Constababble, we put up our VODs edited down on our YouTube. The lovely Debs does that. You can ask Cliff, Cliff, ask from McLean, ask. Please ask. Put them up on YouTube from the lovely Debs, clip the intros and outros, clip out the raids, and you get the straight science content on there. And please consider subscribing to the YouTube as well, folks. And what's cool is these bees can actually train naive bees to do the same behavior. So while, the dancing is more of a natural behavior that we're observing, they're also able to do this more unnatural behavior and transmit from existing, trained individuals to non-trained, naive individuals, which again shows a very high level of complexity. Ryan, they are not smarter than you. However, they are quite smart. They are quite smart, I think. And it is a cutie patootie song. If a bee doesn't yet know how to dance right and gives off the wrong direction, will the other bees start to mistrust them? Yes. So, Cliff, it turns out when they marked aged individuals inside the colony in this study, what they find is that these young individuals don't start doing the dancing for a couple of cycles. They instead just sit and observe. So it seems like there's something like a temporal delay built in that tells them hey, don't yet start dancing until you've figured it out, until you've learned the base of understanding. So there is a little bit of mistrust that might occur. They didn't talk about it, Cliff, in the study where they then took the naive bees and put them together into one nest and saw how they dance. They didn't measure distrust there, even actually mentioned it. But there are past papers about bees that do look at the sites of mistrust. Because what you can do is you can take the bees and train them that here's a good sugar source, and then get rid of the sugar source. Same thing with the ants, Cliff. And then there will be mistrust. However, this mistrust didn't occur the same way. So you don't learn active, but just by watching. It seems like they didn't go into what the cues are, Cliff, but a lot of it we know. The way they get the behavioral information is by visual cues, even in the colony and olfactory. Presumably that's how they're learning here as well, but that was not addressed in this particular study. A while back, I'd encountered research doing books. I'd written that studies have been shown that bees can be trained to recognize human faces, categorize objects, count, do even more complex. Yep, astronomy show. We actually have we had a paper we wanted to discuss on bee counting that I've been putting off for weeks. We'll be putting it off tonight as well, but that's one thing that we'll be chatting about in the coming days. Hello, Word Ducky. Thank you for that, Word Ducky. I wish strangers would help me with my dancing skills. If they
together we can rule the galaxy.
Call me Kixie. Welcome on in. Thank you for that resub. Call me Kixie. How the heck are you doing? How you doing, Kixie? Thank you for the ongoing support. Call me Kixie. Welcome on in. Madame, how are you doing tonight? Talking about bee dancing right now. Bee dancing. Cliff, why are we upset, Cliff? Cliff, is everything okay? Cliff, is everything okay? Cliff, is everything okay? And Constababble, I would help you dance, but ma'am, I have no idea how to dance either. I could do the waltz that we did at our wedding with Lita, and that's about it. That's about the extent that I can do. Chat. I cannot do the tango. Cannot do the tango. I wish I could do the tango. Sleepy but good, thank you. I hope you and the family doing well. We're doing all right, Kixie. We're doing all right. Story number 2. Why am I jumping to story number 2? This one's a fun, short one. This one is, again, about social learning. There's no genetics here. This is, I think, is just a fun topic to get into. Where we will do an elephant deep dive soon, because Grimly redeemed an elephant Psycom character, and so I want to do
Let's go.
Thank you, Gremlin P. Slow dance, Hugin. I bet you're an amazing dancer, Hugin. I bet you're an amazing dancer. So we will do an elephant deep dive. I think next Saturday we will do an elephant deep dive. Today, this paper was just a cool study on, again, social learning. There's no genetics here. There's no genetics, but instead, Gwen, please teach me to dance, Gwen. There's no genetics here, but instead it's about social learning. So what they identified was there is an elephant in this particular zoo named Fa, an Asian elephant. And we're just this quick paper about social learning in an elephant, which was madness, folks. It's almost as mad as our breathtaking, really handsome, really kind friend by the name of Jomio O Jomio. Wherever art thou, Jomio? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. It's Jomio, it's Jomio, it's Jomio. Chad, the lovely artist Jomio is in his house, folks. If you're not checking out and following Jomio, you will not doing life right. Please go hit that follow button on Jomio. And he's a legendary artist. Like, everything that this man does is absolutely breathtaking. Please go drop him that follow. He's actually working on hamburger art. He was doing hamburger art. Right on message would make the hamburger pizza. Jomio, I love the sliced jalapenos that you did, that it looks like they're falling down onto the burger. How do you say Mikasa Sukasa? As in Haza Mate Haza, the Gwendolyn P. Look at that. Look at that. We learning. Bricklane, thank you for the biddies. Let's go and make science great again. Oh, wait, science is already great, and we'll always. So Bricklane, I think making science accessible. I think that's the important part about it here. How you doing though, Jomio? Been here a few times, but only a few. Refresh all the people in the stream. What is your core messaging, your backstory? So Celtic, did you see the trailer by chance, Celtic? We introduced ourselves. So my background, along with my wife's who run the channel, is that we both have our PhDs in molecular and systems biology. And we do interactive science streams here on Twitch. We do microscopy, looking at tiny worlds under a microscope. Science art, we do talk about sci-fi science, science news of the week, deep dives into particular scientific topics, occasional games where we dissect the science of it, and 3D printing. So that is what we do here. Welcome the heck in. I'm okay, just got a bit of a headache after sitting in front of my lights for so long, just chilling now. How are you doing? We're doing all right, Jomio. We're just touching on this science topic of the evening. We just finished talking about honeybees and their dances and social learning and how information is transmitted between individuals. This is a somewhat related topic of social learning. So there is this baby elephant that was adopted in the Berlin Zoo in Germany by the name of Fa, P-H-A, an Asian elephant. And what the researchers found was that this elephant peeled her bananas before eating. None of the other elephants did this. They didn't want to learn it from this one elephant. Bricklane, thank you for the biddies! You don't need labs to most science experiments and observation. Just walk and open your eyes. But yes, lab can do wonders too. Labs are very important, Bricklane, for identifying important components of the things that you observe in nature. Without the lab, you'd have no way of identifying the molecular components and genetics of behaviors, the neuroscience behind them or anything at all, but everything starts with an observation. Indeed, Brick Lane. And so what the researchers were trying to identify was, okay, so let's learn about how elephants peel bananas and how dexterous a trunk is. They also try to identify, Jomio, how this elephant learned to peel bananas. And it turns out with interviewing of her character t-shirt, Raiders, we're talking about this really unique element of social learning. So this elephant at a zoo, the Berlin Zoo, was peeling her bananas. I kid you not, this elephant peeling her bananas.
Behavior of the female Asian elephant Pangpa at the zoo in Berlin. By a partially stereotyped sequence of behaviors, Pangpa peels only ripe bananas.
This elephant knows... Hi, Walking Couché, welcome in. This elephant knows a ripe banana from an unripe banana.
Together,
Walking
the
Cliche!
galaxy.
Walking Cliche, thank you for the resub. Welcome the heck in. I appreciate that ongoing support. I hope you're having a great evening. Chatting about this Asian elephant at the Berlin Zoo that can stereotypically peel bananas. The other elephants in the group do not do this behavior. It turns out the elephant learned this from its caretakers because it was adopted as a rescue, as a little baby elephant. And so the paper goes into how social learning works in elephants, but also the physics behind the trunk and what the elephant trunk can utilize in terms of its dexterity of its trunk, right? Because it can't use its feet, but its trunk apparently is very dexterous enough to be able to peel a banana. Very cool German band named Son Goku. Didn't know they were named. Are they named after the anime guy? Huh? What do you know, Cliff? That's cool.
A behavior that appears to be rare in elephants and is not shown by the other elephants at the Berlin Zoo.
She just peeled the banana. There's the peel down on the ground.
Together, we can rule the galaxy.
Mechaholic, thank you for the resub at 13 months. Thank you so much, Mechaholic. Welcome on in, and thank you for that ongoing support. I hope you're having a great evening. Where Ducky slowed down 4 times the speed now. 4 times the speed. Risto coming in with 2 tier 1 gift subs to Delta Rain and Random Hallucinations. Chat. Wrist Rock choosing to kick off heights. This really interesting study on elephants peeling bananas that we're just rounding out our evening with. Here is the paper. We'll post the paper on the Discord. Mini Demon made an appearance tonight. But Kitty Cat, where they were sweet, right? They were pretty sweet. They were pretty sweet, right? Kind and loving, breathtaking. Let me show y'all. So let's finish our video on the peeling elephant of the banana. Not big.
We described the banana.
So there it is in real time, peeling the banana. Here's there for camera noise. And then it'll be slowed down 4 times the motion. So it's looking at the dexterity of the trunk to the point where the elephant is able to peel back the layer of the banana and then get only the banana portion of it out, and that's all that it eats. And it supposedly learned this from a caretaker. See, it's holding on to the... Oh, there we go.
When the bananas are not ripe, so the green to yellow ones, Pangpa will do as the other elephants and just consume them whole.
What we were talking about today was, again, the beauty of social learning in insects, in particular bees, who do a dance to confer information between learned and experienced individuals to naive individuals. And then we were looking at this video, this other paper that came out on elephants having social learning. So this particular elephant that is learned how to peel a banana. And so the paper actually looked at the dexterity of the trunk and looked at trunk dexterity and trunk mechanics as to how the elephant is able to do this. And we had a video that we were watching about it as well. And it's what's cool is the elephant only does this to ripe bananas, not to unripe. To unripe bananas, it just sticks it in its mouth. It somehow can tell when it's like what kind of banana to peel.
When the bananas are not ripe, so the green to yellow ones, Pangpa will do as the other elephants and just consume them whole. The very ripe, brown bananas are rejected by Pangpa. Banana peeling in Pangpa is not only very skillful, but also much faster than what we observed in humans when we made them peel bananas of the same.
Sleep well, Skip! Not tethered by earthly limitations.
What does that mean?
Come.
Sleep well, Skip, and thank you for the raid as well, my friend. Continue being amazing, Skip. Continue being amazing. Thank you so much. Hello, Carlo, aka the stream. Subscribe, chat if you're not checking out. Lovely and amazing, breathtaking Kyle, aka the stream. Subscribe, go check him out. He just had a 12-hour stream today. Doctor. With all kinds of fancy pants, giveaways, and all kinds of fancy pants things. Guys, go check out Carlo, the stream. Subscribe, Carlo. I love your face, my friend. I hope the stream went well. And thank you for everything that you do. Sleep well as well, Ristarok. Sleep well, Ristarok. I love your face, Risto.
Ripeness.
Carla, I was there from 10 a.m. So you rated out to, I think, Astro Canuck. Is that right? I checked my tabs and we'd rated out. We had you up all day. Okay, great. Yep, had you up all day, sir. That's what I do. That's what I do. I love your face. Carla Ross, yeah. So peeling on average 22 seconds for a human versus 8 seconds for the elephant. And the peeling plus eating for a human is 89 seconds. So huge differences. Huge differences. Got more stuff to do. I think we should merge with your colony. The same thing on it. DM me, Carlo. DM me, my friend. DM me. So make sure that I'm on point with what you're chatting about, because otherwise Blunt gets confused and Blunt's... Love your face, Carla.
This behavior is not only shaped by banana ripeness, but also socially modulated. In a social setting with Pangpa, her daughter Anchali, and female Asian elephant Drombo, Pa will usually first consume as many of the yellow-brown bananas as possible, and do this very fast, 1 banana every 2 seconds. And then she will retain the last banana to perform her favorite behavior and peel it.
So she's holding on to the final banana so she can peel it and eat the peeled banana.
Pangpa's peeling behavior might relate to her life story. When she arrived in Berlin in 1987 as a present of the royal family of Thailand, she was still bottle-fed by the elephant keepers. They also started feeding her peeled bananas, and we suggested this is when she developed a preference for them and was also able to observe the peeling performed by humans.
So through social learning, through mimicry, this animal, this beautiful elephant was able to acquire that information, take it up on her own, and start having this preference for peeled bananas. So it's, I guess, why it's a cool study is it's the first sign of it, like an elephant having this kind of preference, and that we presume we know the origin story from it. And it's, again, a way to measure dexterity in the elephant's trial. There's a couple of quick supplemental videos. Here's just additional videos and additional things that they analyzed in measuring how the animals did the feeding behavior. So again, it's just additional videos of how it was done. I wonder if the other elephants did not, Gwen. So she did do this behavior in front of the other elephants, and the other elephants ignored it. So it seemed like the other elephants, there's probably what it is a critical window, Gwen, during which if the elephant is exposed to it, she'll develop a preference. I assume the other adults they're old enough where their preferences are already set and they just didn't care for it. And so they just that's probably why they didn't mimic. The paper did not go into what the dynamics were with her baby. So she does have a baby, and I don't know if what they did with the baby. And, like, did the baby, like, just not acquire this learned behavior because maybe the mom didn't feel like it was necessary to feed the baby on, like, you know, the banana that was peeled. I'm not entirely sure. There was no real commentary on that front. It's probably textile from bananas are hard to peel. And yeah, it could be. It could be coffee. What they didn't test, Coffee Rocks, is non-banana-y substrates. So, like, would she try to peel something or prefer the texture of something? Like, does she just not like the texture of it in general? Or does she recognize that this is hard to peel? Whee! Just throw it away. And then it's also interesting, Coffee, that she eats the green-yellow bananas without any kind of peeling. So again, like, I think it must be texture. She definitely yeeted it, Smikes. And then, of course, yeah, this is the interesting one, too. With social feeding, she just goes and collects all the bananas she can. And then with the last one, the last banana, she holds and peels as she sees fit. So it's pretty cool and unique behavior in these animals. And there, again, are some physics in here. And additional
We
videos.
described the banana peeling behavior of the female Asian elephant, Pangpa.
Oh, this is the video we actually just watched. So there's this neat figure in here that's looking at the rotation of the trunk and how peeling works. There's not really too much future direction that they're able to do for now, but it is at least the beginnings of some really labor-intensive behavioral studies of elephants. I think that's really cool. So that, for you, chat, the reason I did those two news stories is because they were still connected by social learning. Observation, in this case, the elephant observing humans. In the case of the bees, experienced individuals being observed by naive, newly hatched individuals to acquire new behaviors to transmit information between individuals. That, tonight, folks, is the two science news stories that we're covering, and that is the science news of